Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Aminata. I am a family nurse practitioner, but currently works in outpatient psychiatry. On this channel, I talk a little bit about nursing and mental health, which is my passion. You also see me talk a little bit about motherhood and also discuss some topics that relate to financial freedom, as I'm in the process of trying to pay off my large student loans, and also some other consumer debts. I also talk a little bit about just having a healthy lifestyle, trying to lose weight, which has kind of been a little bit difficult, but we're working on it. It's a work in progress, and just having more natural and healthy hair. And you also see some hair tutorials about braiding, as I do braid my own hair. And if this is something that you're interested in, please make sure you subscribe and make sure you like this video if you find it to be helpful. And so today's topic, I'm going to be discussing about mental illness. Again, with everything that's going on in the world, and we've seen a lot of rise in mental illness, and COVID is not making it any easier, and it's probably one of the major things that's making it worse, as COVID comes with different factors, job loss, depression, and all these different things that comes with COVID. So today I want to talk about mental health in general, and just some topics that some people usually don't talk about. And when I was doing my research and looking for YouTube videos that talk about this topic specifically, I wasn't able to find any. And that was the whole purpose of creating this channel, is to be able to share my experience and be able to help someone in any way that I can. So today's video is going to be focusing on mental health and some of our perception that we may have, and focusing more on minority populations such as immigrants. So if you don't already know, I am an immigrant. I came to the United States in 2004. I am from West Africa, and I work in mental health. So hence why I'm talking about this topic here. But on a more serious note, one of the first things that I want to discuss today is that how sometimes a lot of us immigrants feels like we're immune to mental health, just because we feel as though we've been through so much, and in one way or the other, we feel as though we've overcome those obstacles and situations that we faced in our previous countries that we migrated from. So for example, a lot of people that migrated to the United States, and myself included, it's because of war. So you have some people that have experienced war, they've seen people die, they've been in this constant fear of not knowing if you're going to live the next day because of war. And you have people that have gone through so many issues, such as even being molested in different situations. You've had certain circumstances during the war where young little kids that don't know any better are given guns to kill other people. And then fast forward, you migrate to the United States, and all of a sudden we feel like those things don't affect us anymore, because now we have a better life, quote unquote, and we feel safe, and we feel that we've accomplished so much, such as having food to eat, having a roof over your head, you have nice clothes, you don't have to worry about your safety. And we really downplay those previous traumas, those previous experiences that we've had. And we fail to recognize that those things, even though we downplay them, they affect us in different areas of our lives. So first of all, today is just recognizing that as immigrants, and as for a lot of minority populations, we're not immune to mental illness. And secondly is focusing on another issue that a lot of us struggle with as immigrants, is because of our cultural background and our upbringing, we view mental illness as a negative thing. So we use words such as crazy people. So can you imagine if you are someone that's dealing with mental illness such as depression, or feeling anxious, or bipolar disorder, and you hear family members calling people that have mental illness as they're crazy? Would you feel comfortable talking to that family member or friend? Most likely not, because you don't want to be viewed as someone that's crazy. So just having that thought process of the need to start looking at mental illness and avoiding negative words that we associate with mental illness is the major thing that I wanted to discuss. The next thing is to know that it's okay not to be okay. So we have, especially with social media and all these different things that are going on nowadays, you have people that may be posting certain things that makes it look like life is good, but deep down they're going through some issues. And I'm not saying by no means putting words out there, putting things out there that are negative about you or whatever the case might be. Where I'm coming from is from the perspective of, let's say if you have someone that is going through major depression, that feels like they're the only one that are going through these issues. They feel so down, things, they just can't get anything right. And they just don't feel as though life is worth moving on. And they go on social media and they see someone post something about struggles that they've been through when it comes to mental illness. You could actually be saving that person's life, because now they don't feel so alone. They don't feel like an outcast. They don't feel like they're the only one that are going through things. And that actually gives them hope to some extent. That I watched this video of this individual that talked about mental illness, and it's very similar to a situation that I'm going through. It gives them hope that things is gonna get better, and you could literally be saving that person's life. So my point to this is just being yourself, and that it's okay not to be okay. And that takes me to my next step. Once you're able to be yourself and know that it's okay not to be okay, then you can take the next step to be able to seek help, whether it's talking to family members. Again, for a lot of us that are immigrants, you do have some family members or friends that are really stuck in their ways, which a lot of it has to do with their cultural background and upbringing and their thought process. And there's just no way that you're going to change that. And if you're not able to reach out to those individuals, seek out professional help. So an example of this would be, so again, this will be like a personal experience that I've had. So I grew up in West Africa, and the way I was raised and the way how a lot of things are done as a woman is that as a kid, your mom pretty much trained you and raised you and prepare you to be the best wife as you can be. So you learn house chores, cooking, cleaning, and all these things, okay? And then you get married, and then your ultimate goal in life is to be a mother, okay? So imagine having that in the back of your mind, and then you go through all that process, you learn how to cook, you're a good wife, you have a baby. And then all of a sudden you start having these symptoms, such as you cry all the time, or you cry sometimes for things that doesn't really make sense. You're irritable or having very short fuse. You don't really want to hold your baby. You don't want to feed them. You don't want to cuddle them when they're crying. You're avoiding the baby. And just things that makes you feel like you're a bad mom. And fast forward, having those symptoms, and you actually go in and talk to someone, such as a lot of the times after having a baby, especially in the United States, you meet with the provider, and then they kind of go over a series of questions where they talk about one of the most common mental illness that happens with a lot of people that after delivering a baby is postpartum depression. So imagine this provider is asking you a series of questions about your mental health, and they tell you that these symptoms that you're having is a perfect explanation as to why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And you've been feeling that you're such a terrible mom, the one thing in life that you're supposed to be good at, you can't even do that. That can be so defeating, and feeling like you failed. And having this person tells you that, oh no, this doesn't mean that you're a bad mom. It just means that there is an explanation as to how your brain processes things, and there's a reason, and there's a medical word as to why you're feeling where you're feeling, which is postpartum depression. And that creates such a sense of relief. And then now together you guys can work on, now what's the plan? How do I go about being the best mom that I can be? Because those symptoms doesn't only affect you, affect your child, and affect your family members around you. And being able to work with a professional who's able to help you navigate through those feelings and help you come up with an explanation as to why you're feeling the way you're feeling. The next thing, you guys work on a plan. How do I go about feeling better? And for a lot of us, and this is amazing how in the past year and a half working in outpatient psychiatry, I've worked with multiple patient populations. And one thing that's very common for a lot of immigrants or Africans is the fear of medications. And they feel as though when they go see a healthcare provider that related to their mental health, one, for a therapist, is like they're going to shrink me or they're going to make me a different person. And that's not the case. Or they're just going to throw medications at me. And that's not the case. And believe it or not, the first line of treatment for a lot of mental illness issues that we deal with is therapy. And that does not involve medications. It's literally you going in and talking to someone who help you figure out the symptoms that you're having and help you come up with an explanation as to why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And it helps you figure out coping skills, which is very, very, very important, especially with the stressful times that we're dealing with. We need to have better coping skills to be able to deal with day-to-day stresses that we don't have control over. And that's one of the things when I was talking about my previous video about how to cope with anxiety, is knowing how to figure out things that you have control over, and which is how to cope with situation. We don't have control over what people say or do, but what we need to take control is how we respond to those situations. And that's where therapy comes in, to help you figure out how to better cope. And sometimes we use therapy alone to help you manage your mental illness. Sometimes we use a combination of medication and therapy. So it's not always that negative idea of someone is just going to throw medications at me and that's that. That's not the case. So just overall having a positive mindset when it comes to mental illness. Again, this video is overall just focusing on how our cultural beliefs sometimes impact our ability and how we view mental illness. And just knowing that as an immigrant, and for a lot of people that think they're immune to mental illness, that's not the case, that we just need to take a step back and really think about how we've been feeling lately. And then you're able to actually recognize that, okay, there is some trauma that have happened in the past that I've suppressed, but it's affecting me. It's coming out in different forms, whether it's relationship-wise or different situations. So just recognizing that makes a huge difference. And also knowing that it's okay not to be okay, because that's the first step for you to recognize that you do need help. And all of us to some extent need help, whether it's financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever the case might be, we all need help. And just learning to be ourselves makes a significant difference. So I hope this video was very helpful. If you are an immigrant or not an immigrant that has dealt with or is currently dealing with mental illness, and you have a different perception of what mental illness is in the past and how that has changed over time, please comment down below so that way we all can learn from each other. Again, the whole idea of this video is for people to know that you're not alone. There are so many people that struggle with mental illness, and that we just need to know that for a lot of them that struggle with mental illness, they just need to not feel alone, not feeling like they're the only ones that are going through this, and being able to seek help, and that it's okay to seek help. So I hope this video has been helpful. And if you haven't already checked out my previous video that talks about 2 helpful tips on how to deal with anxiety that relates to COVID, please make sure you check that out. Please make sure you like this video, and please make sure you subscribe and comment down below on different ideas that you've been using or different perspective that you've had in regards to mental illness. And let's keep the conversation going. And again, this video is all about positive vibe, uplifting each other, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Please make sure to comment, subscribe, and like this video. Until next time, please stay positive and be kind to one another. Guys, take care.